Hi, my name is Raphael. I am the PMM here, responsible at Payhawk for procurement offering. And we're here today to talk about like really procurement and all the challenges and changes that are really happening for companies that use procurement and how they can really use procurement actually as a strategic advantage. With me here today is Kiril.
Hi everyone, I'm Kiril and I'm the Procurement Manager at Payhawk.
Thanks so much. For us, the topic is especially important at Payhawk because it is really a way of democratizing the process of starting a procurement process with our procurement agent, with our intake workflows, and really building around this belief that we want to balance the full control with a really frictionless experience. Maybe just to start, Kirill, let's look into how companies are currently operating when they don't have a structured procurement process. And so I would want to start asking you, like, what do you feel like? What tools or workaround do you currently see when companies use something that they feel like it's just good enough? And when does it stop to be good enough?
Yeah, absolutely. So companies are usually using what they have at that point in time, different collaboration tools, emails, communications through Slacks or other collaboration tools. So it's very unstructured, very scattered all over the place. Um, Very manual processes all around, chasing requester, chasing approvers, looking into multiple email threads, or if in case there are systems, looking into different systems. So it's very difficult to follow the process from start to the end, and usually that takes a lot of time and effort for whoever is doing it. And in most cases, these are usually the top level management in the small companies. So they're the very happy ones when they decide to get a procurement person in place.
Understood. So you've been speaking a bit about like different ways of what's in place at this point, and what do you feel like? When does a company ends up losing control there?
Well, usually this is far too late in the process when you realize that you've lost control. For small companies, it's very common way to work with that informal process because you're just a few people. Everybody knows what you're buying, who you're buying it for, and who is using it. But as the headcount grows, you start to lose that shared awareness, and more and more teams become more autonomous. They decide to purchase something on their own, so nobody has the full picture anymore. So this is when it becomes clear that it needs to be centralized and not decentralized as it's been from the beginning.
Can we dig a bit deeper there into like this idea of like a full picture? What does that really mean?
Well, it means that whenever teams start make decisions of their own, it usually leads to duplicating tools, or somebody purchased something, but he or she is no longer in the company, but that software continues to run on the background, and invoices continue to come, and accounts payable are paying them without ever raising the question, do we really need this? Yeah, in a nutshell, it starts to grow exponentially, and without any control, anybody can purchase whatever he or she wants and decides to use. So, yeah,
So procurement gets basically its own life in a way.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Understood. So when I talk about like optimizing procurement, so to speak, like do you really feel like that's the first challenge to kind of say to capture procurement that's somewhat running away, or how do you see that?
Yeah, when you say optimize, the first word that comes to my mind is visibility, because
Hmm.
you cannot optimize something that you don't know what exactly it is. You need to have a clear picture of what you have in that current moment, and then build the vision of what you want to have in the future. So you need to start from spend auditing, software auditing, just to make sure that you know what exactly you're paying for, in order to then track to the owner, see if he or she needs it, if this is something that we need to continue using, that we plan to use? Is it tied into a bigger strategy of a different team? But yeah, the first word that comes to my mind related to optimization is visibility.
Understood. Now, the thing is, I feel like visibility is a bit of a buzzword nowadays. Everybody talks visibility, talks about cost. Like, can we make it a bit more tangible in this case? Like who needs visibility, and maybe you can say how would that tie, for example, for you into like your day-to-day work?
Yeah, absolutely. The visibility is required at the very top level of the company. So every CFO wants to know what the budget looks like, what is the actual expense that is hitting that budget. So the visibility requirement comes from the top to the bottom, and it's important for the CFOs and for the procurement uh, experts, especially because the procurement role is to centralize and control the spend of a company. So we are the ultimate gatekeepers for what the company spends on, uh,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's critical to have that understanding to make sure that you are in line with the budget, which effectively has an effect on the bottom line of every company.
Understood. Okay. All right. Let's kind of stay there for a moment. And you're already speaking about of an organization that is fairly mature, right? You talk about a CFO level, you talk about procurement. You're managing procurement here yourself for like a 450 people company, so to speak. Um, so procurement's getting more powerful, right? And your role as taking care of procurement grows. So I wanna look a bit of a strategic aspect for that one. And one of the things that we hear a lot is like that we say, hey, many companies see two-way matching, three-way matching, still, especially for this non-inventory part of their procurement, as like maybe a bit of an overkill. It's like unnecessary overhead. So does this hold true, really?
Yeah, it is. You really need to have matching in place because this is the easiest way to see if there are any discrepancies between what you have ordered and negotiated, what you have received, and what you were invoiced. So, having that matching for even intangible goods or services is critical to have in place.
Can we make it a bit more simple? Because I feel like we have a bit of a tendency to complicate everything and behind like fancy words, but like at the bottom line, what is it really?
Well, matching is, in simple terms, you place an order. You want to order 5 laptops. You send your PO to the vendor. That vendor sends you the 5 laptops along with an invoice for 5 laptops. And you can see on that invoice the exact model, the quantity, the price, and you can easily match that and compare that to your PO to make sure that everything is what you agreed.
Understood. Okay. And like the real value there, is it really like to say, okay, I know that what I get is what I ordered, or is it more about like, um, yeah, what exactly? That it's automated, or that I have discrepancy?
Yeah, the real value is there because you can imagine that a company, even with 450 employees, there are multiple orders happening every day. And if you have, for example, a tool that automates that matching and shows you very quickly and very easy what you ordered, what you're getting, and if there are any discrepancies, that saves a lot of time because if you miss something and you get invoiced a different amount or for different quantities, then getting these corrections in place, in meaning that getting credit notes or other documents that accounts payable may need, could sometimes take weeks or even months in some cases, depending on what the product and the amount on the invoice is.
Understood. And yeah, maybe to stay with it a bit longer, like what happens if it's not really matched, right? So on the one side, hey, I have a matching process, and then I see there's an issue. And on the other side, let's look at it and say I have matching, but it's like very, very rough. It's not very sophisticated. So where you see any risks there?
Well, if you don't have any matching in place, you can end up paying a lot more than you intended to pay. Um, if you have matching in place, there could be discrepancies, but if they are within some certain parameters, for example, that you are okay with that, you can process that invoice, and it's a lot easier to get those discrepancies at the time they have happened and make a decision whether or not to move forward, rather than making a payment and then trying to get some money back, or communicate excessively with the vendor what happened, why, what are we going to do next, how we can correct that, and these types of communications usually takes a lot of time.
Understood. And just from your experience, like, is this something that actually happens really, or is this something that's just more like a theory?
Well, it happens fairly often, to be honest, because I'm usually communicating with salesperson people, and then we agree on something, but then there's another team that is working on the invoice. So very often they forgot to include a discount, or they put the wrong quantity, or something like this that ends up changing the overall cost on the invoice. So these types of things are fairly often, and it's better to get them as early as possible.
Understood. All right. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, with this we already have kind of tapped a bit into your very dual role, right? Like, you are the subject matter expert here for us, but you are also, in fact, the procurement manager. So you source procurement solutions yourself to make your life, to make our life easier. And I want to look into this as well, right?
Yeah.
When you, in your role, are evaluating procurement solutions, help me understand really how you judge whenever they're really working end to end, or if it's just like bundling some individual features.
Well, the simplest way to identify that is if the vendor can show you the process from the start to the end. If they can just showcase all individual modules, this means that they don't have that process they're promoting in place. So they're just promoting individual features bundled together into a product. So yeah, they need to showcase the whole scenario from start to the end, and they need to make sure that all the information flows in every step, and there is no need for me to re-enter any information, details, review multiple times the same information, but that information flows easily from the very start, from the request until the invoice is paid.
Understood. Yeah, that makes sense. But also here, I would like to dig a bit deeper into like this end to end thing, because again, I feel like everybody seems to claim that they're working end to end. So what does it really mean from your perspective?
Well, the end-to-end, from my perspective, means that every employee can submit a request. That request gets approved. Once approved, is sent to the vendor. Vendor is sending you the products along with the supporting documentation. In this case, an invoice. That invoice is matched with the request of that employee, and then passed along to the accounts payable, who then pays that invoice. And everybody in that process can see exactly the same information from the request through what was ordered, what was received, and what was invoiced. And we are all working in the same system, so there is no context that is missing throughout the process.
All right. And I assume that when you say see, you also mean like probably influence.
Yeah.
Of course. All right. Okay. Appreciate it. Um, yeah. The second thing that I feel like might be a bit misunderstood is really the difference between like an active tool versus just something that adds like a project management layer. So how you distinguish here between what's really just another layer to orchestrate versus what is actually creating value?
Yeah, well, that depends on the level of automation. If we can build workflows that can be automated and they are triggered based on specific criteria, and my supervision is only required to make sure that everything is working as expected, this is what makes a tool valuable. If it's something that I need to check every step of the way, need to perform any action in order to push the process forward, this is not adding any value to my day-to-day responsibilities.
So you do have a clear image there.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Based on that, big question: what's really missing in the current market offerings? Like, where you see like big gaps where you hope to see some developments in the upcoming years?
Now, well, maybe the biggest gap is that the different functions are looking in different systems. For example, accounts payable and finance, they're looking into Oracle or SAP or other ERP system, which is usually not very flexible. Whereas I, for example, am working day in and out in Payhawk, and I have full visibility on the requests, on the invoices, what has been purchased, when, and that connection between the procurement tools and the ERP tools and the financial tools is something that is currently missing. And I think that Payhawk is exactly the tool that can fill that gap very easily and very well.
Understood. Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to wrap it up with like a last topic here, which is about making really a difference. We've both been talking here from the perspective of experts, and I feel that that might once in a while be a bit high for people to understand. How can we actually democratize this process so that every employee is on their own enabled? That's really something that we're trying to solve for, obviously. And what we're kind of wondering is like when procurement processes are happening today, where do they most commonly fail? Like, tell me something. What's your experience there?
Well, from my experience, the scariest thing for employees is the word procurement because they're not experts, as you said, and they see procurement as something very scary, very difficult to follow. So people tend to get very creative to avoid a process instead of following it if it's not clearly defined and easy to follow. So one of the things that makes a process fail probably is a poor UI, because you need to make it very easy for the end user to just with a few clicks get whatever he or she wants. And there is nothing difficult in that. They need to understand that nowadays with the AI penetrating the industry, these difficult tasks that they envision they are asked to do will be done either by the AI agent or the procurement expert who is working behind the scenes.
Understood. But like you're saying, it's scary for employees, and I'm kind of wondering like why is it scary? Like what really needs to change there?
Well, it's scary because it's unknown, and we are speaking on from our perspective as experts, and people are experts in their field. For example, a marketing expert is not intended to know what is procurement, where do we get our laptops from, or what models and makes, and what's the price, and they're starting to wonder if they need to know that information. But we want to make it very easy for them just to submit a request with a few words like I need a laptop, and everything else is taken care of behind the scenes by the AI, following the internal company policies and the pre-approved list of hardware that we use, and everything happens in just a minute.
Where you see UX coming in there, or like the interface that I interact with?
Well, it should be very easy for them. Like I said, it should be related or linked to a tool that they're using on daily basis. They're used to, they know how to navigate. It should be very self-explanatory with minimal or no enablement needed. Um, Good thing about AI is that everybody is using it today, so it's very common, and everybody knows how to chat with an AI agent. So that's a very good thing.
Fair, fair, fair. Understood. So the thing here is that our senior director of solutions engineering had mentioned to me that AI can't really be a black box, right? We can't just say, okay, AI is happening in the background and you get what comes out there. So help me understand how that gets together with like a sort of procurement that is agent first, where we have really this balance between trust and control and at the same time simplicity.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more with our solution expert. AI is very good at following rules. So there is a high volume, low judgment decisions that need to happen on the background, and this is where AI excels. However, for the tasks that include taking accountability or making a decision, this should remain within the human hands, at least for now, until we better understand AI and how it functions. But yeah, it could automate a lot of small, reputable tasks that are happening a lot during the day, multiple times for low value purchases, for example. And
Mhm.
it's very, very useful to analyze discrepancies, trigger notifications, suggest mitigation actions, and stuff like that. But like I said, anything that involves judgment or taking responsibility and accountability should remain within a person's hands.
So you say we're kind of condensing a bit here towards that angle.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Yeah, which kind of brings me exactly to that, right? Because you've been speaking about differentiating a bit between what is really responsibility and what is really like just, so to say, paperwork, groundwork. So what does it mean for you if you're looking into it as like a procurement manager yourself? Are there any tasks that you feel like, yeah, I really want to hand them over versus like which are the ones that you will definitely want to keep?
Yeah, definitely. There are tasks that I would love to hand over to the AI. That would allow me to focus on more strategic tasks like vendor management or negotiations for a big contract that is a high value one or strategic one. So I could gladly delegate to the AI everything like tactical purchasing related. Um, uh, AI is very good at following rules, like I said. So when you build the processes and the workflows and you solidify them with the policies, AI will be very good at following them 24/7 because it's very consistent in these types of tasks. So the those easy reputable ones I could easily delegate, and for those that are involving other human interactions with vendors, negotiations, commitment to different initiatives, this I would like to keep for myself for now.
So the human facing side of it.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. All right, so I just want to kind of get to the bottom line here a bit. And you talked a bit about what we are doing as Payhawk. You talked a bit what the market's doing and what you're missing. So, what does it really mean for you to say, okay, agents are coming into procurement? And maybe the bottom of this question, as it is does it make procurement more strategic, or do you feel like it becomes more like a way of re-centralizing in a way?
Well, I see AI agents as allies because they help me free up some time for to do the strategic work.
Hmm.
So I think that with the AI coming into the industry, uh, it does allow indeed for the experts to focus on the task that bring more value and to delegate and move off their plate the tasks that are high in volume but low in value or in cost. So I think that using AI moving forward is the way to go. And like I said, I see the AI as an ally, as a support, rather than a threat or anything else that could disrupt the procurement process.
Okay, understood. Um, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. And I hope that we manage to make the most out of our own news.
Thank you. It was pleasure
Thanks so much.
speaking to you too.
See you there. Bye bye.
Bye.